also got material from overseas collections, and this one's from the NSA, their Cryptological Museum. Tell us about this.
So this is a really fascinating object. It was used to send Allied messages in World War II between the Fleet Radio unit in Melbourne and between there and the American outpost in the Pacific. So this was used to create and encrypt messages to send them so the Allies could communicate essentially. It's considered one of the only unbroken codes in World War II, and it works in a very, very similar way to the Enigma machine in that it has rotors. But this one was a little bit different in that it had a piece of tape that you could feed through the front of it, and that would randomise the movement of the cogs. So when people would go to break the code, they couldn't do it because there wasn't a mathematical formula that they could work out that would essentially put that rotor in sequential order like it is with the Enigma machine. Yeah, so it's a really exciting chance to see one of these in the flesh.
It's fascinating. The fact that there is such a complexity of parts and technology in this is just quite amazing. And this is the only unbroken code of the Second World War.
Yeah, it's believed to be. It's one of those things where they say, well, we as far as we know, I don't know if there was like an obscure code-breaking Japanese unit that was then undisclosed. But like all code-breaking work, it operates under a cloud of secrecy, essentially. The women that worked, and men that worked at FRUMEL, quite often didn't disclose what they did during the war to their families because it was such a big secret. Although there is an oral history account of some of the women working at FRUMEL being on the tram on the way to work and overhearing an announcement saying, of course, over there we've got the code-breaking unit, blah, 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 blah. And they were like, this is meant to be top secret, I don't know what the tram driver's doing. Sort of mild panic on the way to work.
No, it is amazing. And so the paper tape was inserted in the slot on this side.
Yeah.
And visitors will be able to sort of lean over the top of the machine and actually see how the cogs are assembled inside. There's a window on the top of the machine here.
There is, and the tape, the area where the tape would feed through is actually covered up. But we have a photo in our collection that was taken inside the unit, and you can see the bits of tape sort of trailing through the front of the machine and onto the ground. So it's really fortunate that we have these photographs, and there isn't a lot in terms of code-breaking photographs that are out there, particularly with this unit. So the unit also broke Japanese naval codes as well, and we do have some rare documents that show a cryptolinguist matrix as well.
A
cryptolinguist matrix.
Yeah.
And that was essentially their way of breaking down Japanese book codes.
Okay.
The idea being that you look for cribs. So if you're looking at a crib in a letter, it might be the fact that you start with the date or the fact that you start with dear so-and-so. So the word dear becomes something that you can use to break.
Yeah.
And the work that they did there was so important because it managed to sort of turn the tide of the war in the Pacific. So the Battle of Coral Sea and the Battle of Midway, they would break these codes and then work out strategic responses to the attacks that were going to happen there. So the work that they did had a huge impact. They weren't the only code-breaking unit in Australia. General MacArthur's Central Bureau was also operating in Queensland as well. We just have great documentary evidence of this particular unit, which is why we've focused on it here.